Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi, Maseches MEILAH, Daf Chaf Aleph. We are holding at the last Daf of our Hadir Maseches MEILAH. We're holding at the Mishnah, 2 lines from the top. So back to the Shlichus concept. Unlike the rest of the Torah, where we say in Shlich L'Dvar Avera. So if Reuven sends Shimon to do an Avera on his behalf, who's responsible? Shimon, the actual doer. You can't blame it on the sender. By MEILAH, it's different. We learn it from the connection to Truma, where the Shliach's action is credited to the Balabayas, to the sender. It's just like by Truma. If you take it on behalf of the farmer, it goes onto his account. In similar fashion by MEILAH, if Reuven sends Shimon to spend the Hegdish money on his behalf, of course we're speaking b'shoigeg, it was inadvertent. Otherwise this whole concept of karban and the repayment wouldn't apply by Mezid. So b'shoigeg, he asked him to spend certain money at a certain location, from a certain location. Then if the shliach actually does the shlichus, he carries it out properly as per his instruction, who's accountable? The sender. Provided they did his job. But if he deviated from his instructions, then it's his own doing, and he's responsible, the shliach. Here comes a Mishnah with some examples of this halacha. Amaloi havli min achaloi. So Reuven asks the fellow, bring me some money from the windowsill, and spend it. Oy minat luskuma, from the some sort of container. And he did so. He brought him the money, it was spent. Ava b'shama balabais, even though balabais now claims, no, actually, it was the other wallet sitting on the window. So, I meant in my heart, I meant the other one. And he brought me the wrong one. Too bad, you didn't say it. Unexpressed, we'll see in the Gemara. Devarim shebalev, unexpressed words have no validity. The fact is, you verbalize something, X, he did X, you're responsible. Balabais. But let's say he deviated. He took the wrong money from the wrong location and spent it. But let's say he told the shliach, bring me, spend the money from the windowsill. Instead, he used the luskuma money, or the exact opposite. I asked him from the luskuma. He brought him from the window. Who's responsible? Shliach, he is the mom. Now, there's something to consider here, a shayla. Let's say he asked somebody to do something on his behalf. So we say the shliach who carried out his shlichus, what he did counts on account of the balabais. Do we need a halachic shliach status here? Or perhaps merely orchestrating that end result is also considered the balabais' responsibility. So for example, let's say you send somebody who's not really a valid shliach, a minor, a katan, a deranged person. So you can't really appoint him as a legal shliach regarding other matters in the Torah. What happens by MEILAH? The fact is, you've arranged it, you've orchestrated via this medium, a robot. So the answer is, by MEILAH, it need not be a bona fide, halachically, valid shlichus for the sender to be responsible. Because here it's a matter of orchestrating, it's a matter of achieving the end result. Arrangement, orchestration, that's the word, that's the concept here. In fact, we had yesterday even combining, right? Taking part for oneself and offering it to some. It's the orchestration that triggers the MEILAH. And therefore, says the Mishnah, Shilach biad chayro, shoyte v'katan, he sent the money in the hands of a chayro, the deaf mute, shoyte, the range v'katan minor, im asu shlichuse balbayis mal, if they did their job, balbayis is responsible, despite them not really having the true status of a shliach. Let's say they did not carry out his intention, and they went to the grocer, they gave him the money on account of the item. So, interestingly, in this case, Guess who's responsible? Guess who's left holding the bag? Chenvani Mal, the grocer. He does Mila when he actually spends the money later. Because, look, Babayis is off the hook. His instructions were not followed. He asked for milk. The fellow bought him orange juice. The shliach is not a responsible individual. He's a cherish, shaita b'katan. So they're off the hook. Ultimately, the chenvani, he's the one that receives the hegdish money, which did not really experience a true me'ilah yet. Nobody had perpetrated me'ilah on it. So he's the one holding hegdish money in its original status, and now when he spends it, he's committed me'ilah. The unlucky chenvani, he's the mal. Another case, shilach biad pikeach. Reuven sends hegdish money in the hands of a sane, healthy person, responsible individual. But v'niskar achalegia etzel chenvani. And the Balabayas, and the Gemara will add that the Shliach as well, suddenly were jolted by awareness. Hey, that money is hegdish money. And as we learned, this whole Me'ilah consequence only applies to a shaykik. So if he now knows, if he's aware, he's off the hook. So once again, who's left holding the bags? Chenvani Mal. Look, Chenvani is responsible. Because until it gets to him, nobody had committed Me'ilah. So when he takes the money and spends it, he diverted it, he did Me'ilah. Ketzad Yasa. So what should the Balabayas do to spare the poor grocer from encountering Me'ilah? He does a quick redemption. Noitel pruta, he grabs a pruta, a kli, or another item. When he says pruta shel hegdish, the pruta of hegdish, the money that's on its way to the grocer, wherever it is, the kedusha should be transferred to this item right here, which renders that money hegdish free, me'ilah safe, and you can do that shehegdish nifta b'kesef u'b'shav b'kesef, because you can redeem hegdish by transferring the kedusha onto money or any item of value. Now back to the beginning of the Mishnah. He sent him to get money from location X, and he brought him from that location. Babayis is responsible, even if he claims, well, he didn't really have that in mind. My kamashma, what's the point of that halacha? To teach us dvarim shebelevenim dvarim, unexpressed words. Words in your heart have no halachic legality. And since, in terms of your expressed intention, he followed his job, he followed your instruction, you're chayiv. Shiach bet chedesh shoyt lekatan im also v'chulu. Ask the Gemara, so you sent in the hands of a katan. You're responsible, but he's not a shliach. How could his action be applied to you? The answer is, you don't need it. Halachically valid shlichus for Me'ilah. Here it's all about arrangement. It's all about orchestration. So even if he's a robot, asum kamata shalzeisen. It was treated like the basket of the olives that are sort of softening and rotting in anticipation of the oil press. It's not as we learn in Mishnah. Hazeisen, olives, meimasim mekalan tumah. At which point do they become able for a tumah? So halacha is that food has to come into contact with liquid to become a tumah enabled, become susceptible for acceptance of tumah. So these olives are pretty much, they're presumed to be dry. At what point do they experience wetness? Now that one more point, that wetness has to be nichale, Rashi says. Nichale, because the owner has to be pleased about the presence of that liquid. It can't just be random rainfall. It must be something that he is happy with, that helps him, that's beneficial to the process. The answer is, once they start sweating, they start oozing some liquid, as they're sitting in the ma'atan, in this basket, in advance of the oil press, which softens them and makes them makes it easier to press. So that liquid is something which is nichale, the owner is pleased with it. So coming into contact with that liquid is considered hechshel kamel tumah. Going forward, the zeisam are now susceptible. If they come in contact with tumah, they become tamid. But not the the moisture that develops while they're still sitting in the box, in the container, before being placed in the basket ahead of the oil press. Because that moisture is not nichale. He's not interested in that. But what do we see from here? That the moisture in the ma'atan, in the basket, is considered nichale. It's something that relates to the owner. It's like his doing. What do you mean it's his doing? Who did it? The basket did it. The basket is an inanimate object. Rashi says, the matan, this matan, la bar zeya, they changed it to das. La bar das, it's not a bar das. So whatever the basket so-called produced, why is that credited to the owner? Why is that considered the owner's doing? The answer is, we don't need a true shlichus for it to be considered qualifying liquid. It has to be something which the owner is pleased with. Circumstantially. It's there, he's happy with it. It was produced by way of an inanimate object, that's also fine. It's the presence of the liquid. It's the end result that matters. Same over here. You sent the money with a cotton. True, the mass of a cotton has no validity, has no halachic standing, cannot be attributed to the balabais who sent him it's not a real shliach. But it's not about the act, it's about the end result. The fact is, you have orchestrated this result. You've arranged this transfer of money, this diversion of Hegdesh funds by way of an adult, a cotton, a robot. It's all one and the same. Rabbi Yechon Amar, another example by Erev. So you want to, put down Erev Techum and mold the road. Instead of troubling yourself out there, you send it on program a robot, put it down at GPS code 324, plop down the peanut butter, the can of peanut butter there. You can do that. So even though the actual act was not carried out by a true shaliach, it's your doing, it's your orchestration, that's enough. As we learned back in Maseches Eruvin, if he placed the Erev material on the back of a monkey, and he had the monkey bring it to the location and deliver it there. Or on top of an elephant, it counts as an Erev. Alma, apparently, called the Shlichusei, is considered doing the doing of your intended, project, so to speak. He carried out your intention. Ochanam as well. When the cotton does your purchase with the MEILAH money, with the Hegdesh money, Ochanam is avish shlichusei. His shlichus, his intention was carried out, and that's why it's credited to he's accountable. So we have the fellow who was on his way to the grocer, and the owner becomes aware that the money is Hegdesh. Mishnah says the grocer ultimately will be doing the MEILAH. Even though the shliach who's delivering the money has not yet become aware of the nature of the money. Meaning, even though the shliach is unaware, he's a shaygig, and he's playing a pivotal role in the transfer of this money. Why isn't he responsible? Why isn't he doing MEILAH? True, the Abayis is absolved because he's a mezit, but the shliach is in. Why is the grocer responsible? For a minimum of a kasha. This Abayis shliach. Abayis reminds, but not the shliach. Who's responsible? So it shifts over to the shliach. HaShliach Mo. Not the Chanvani, Niskru Shneyem. Yeah. If both Reuven the Abayis and Shimon the shliach have become aware of the nature of this money, so they cannot be held accountable for MEILAH. In this case, Chanvani is the Mal. Rav Sheshes, my sister Nami, same thing in our Mishnah. It was more than just the Abayis that became aware. The Abayis and the Shliach became aware. So they're off the hook. And Chanvani is the one left with MEILAH. Okay, so in conclusion, a Mishalech who sends a Shliach, any type of Shliach, even a robot, if it was sent b'shoigeg, his shlichus was carried out as per his wishes, he is the MEILAH committer. But if there was a deviation from his wishes, wrong location, wrong money, then he's not responsible. Okay, we spoke about cases where the chanvani actually could be the one stuck with MEILAH. In a case where the Babai sent money with somebody who didn't really do his job, so the chanvani is the next in line for the MEILAH. Or in a case where Babai and the shliach both became aware, so they're off the hook, and once again the chanvani is stuck. Okay, we discussed previously that MEILAH involves misusing hegdish money with a minimum threshold value of a pruta, shava pruta. So what happens is the Mishnah nusnli pruta. Back to the shliach. He sent a servant with a pruta. V'amarle, he tells him like this: Havali b'chetzio neiros, v'chetzio psila. Split the pruta into two. Half you will, with half you will buy neiros, lamps. With the other half of pruta you'll buy wicks. Now, if Shimon carried it out completely, who is the responsible party? Reuben the Balbais. What happened? Instead of doing half and half, Shimon took the whole pruta and applied it to psiles, or he applied it to a neiros. So in this case, who committed the MEILAH? Well, technically nobody, because nobody's MEILAH, nobody's diversion involved a full pruta. Look, the Balbais asked for 50-50. He ended up using the entire pruta for the, let's say, for the neiros. So on half, I'm responsible, but on the other half, you're responsible, because you deviated. Each one of us did not deviate a full pruta. So both pater. Or, Oish, Amarle, Havali, Bikula neiros. Or, in the reverse, he asked him to use the entire pruta for neiros. Or he asked him, Bikula psilos, entirely for psilos, and he did half and half. So once again, everybody committed a part of MEILAH, but not a full pruta worth, and they're both pater. He took the pruta and split it. Half neiros, half psilos. So he deviated halfway. Both are absolved, because each one did not deviate a full pruta. But let's say he told him, Havili b'chetzi neiros, mokum pleni. In the following case, the shliach deviated completely on the entire pruta. How? Reuben says like this: take the pruta and split it 50-50. Havali b'chetzi neiros mokum pleni. Half used to purchase neiros from store A. V'chetzia, with the other half, psilos mokum pleni, used to purchase psilos from store B. And he switched it around. So now the shliach deviated with the entire amount. He's responsible. He went and he purchased the neiros from the psilos store. Upsilos he purchased from the neiros from the neiros store. So he deviated on the full amount. He did his own thing. Next case. He gave him two prutas. Formerly with instructions. Lech v'havali esrog. So Erev Sukkot says, buy me a nice esrog for 2 prutas. In those days, an esrog was worth just a couple of prutas. Tesis in Masechah Sukkah points that out. He says, the Gemara speaks about esrog being worth very little. A pruta, 2 prutas. Very different than today. Okay, so he says, I want a 2 pruta worth esrog. Fine. Volach, and it's maybe before Rosh Hashanah, he says, let him get him a good deal. Shliach's thinking, why does he need such expensive esrog? 2 prutas? I'll make a good deal. I'll get him Rosh Hashanah and Sukkot in the same deal. Volach ve'eveloi. What do you buy for the owner? Ba'achas esrog, 1 pruta for an esrog, v'achas rimain. The other pruta, he bought a rimain, a pomegranate for Rosh Hashanah. Shnei moyalo. In this case, they both committed MEILAH. Why? Because the Balbais' wish was fulfilled on the first pruta. He got him an esrog, as per his wishes. And the shliach deviated on the second pruta. He purchased a rimain by self-initiation, right? Unsolicited. So he did MEILAH on the second pruta. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. Owner is totally off the hook. Look, I wanted a nice fancy esrog. Give me a cheap little esrog. that's a total unfulfillment of my wishes. It's not like, you brought me half. Half is nothing. Rabbi Daimer, Balabais is not responsible. Because he tells the Shliach, Esrog God Oisim Avakish. I was dreaming about a huge esrog worth $2. He basically cut him around. He brought me this little miniature esrog, poor quality esrog. It's not like he brought me half what I asked for. It's a totally different entity. I'm off the hook. Another example, clothing. He asked him to buy him a suit for X amount, and he brought him a suit for half the amount. Not only dinar zav, he gave him a dinar zahav, a gold coin, which is worth 6 silvers. Varmalei tells him like this. Here's your instruction. Lech v'haveli chalak. Go buy me a chalak, a robe. Let's talk, suits, okay? He asked him to buy a suit, an Armani, a fancy suit. V'halach v'haveli v'shloisha chalak v'shloisha talis. Return Talmud Bavli. He used the 6 to buy 2 purchases. You got him a good deal. He says, why does he need such a fancy suit? 3 he used for the chalak, as per his instructions. The other 3 he bought a talis, a different type of garment. Shnei MEILAH. Once again, they're both in the MEILAH because the shliach deviated on a substantial amount, and the Balbayis, at least on the first 3, he got his deal. Rabbi Daimer once again, no, I didn't ask for a cheap suit. Balbayis is not responsible at all. Because he tells the shliach, who asked you? I was planning a nice fancy suit. They basically cut him right, brought me this little cheap suit. I'm not interested. Shamas me, no. Now, it would seem from the Tanakama that when you go down halfway, it's not like a brand new transaction. It is considered a partial fulfillment of your instruction, which results in the Balbayis being responsible for MEILAH on that part. Is that true? And this has ramifications regarding all kinds of halachos, choshen mishpat. Let's say you ask somebody, buy me a 10-acre lot, and he buys him a 5-acre lot. Is it null and void? Or do we say, look, at least be happy with 5? It's just a reduction, but it's not a different type of transaction. The Mishnah sounds like that's in fact the case. Shamas we can conclude from this Mishnah. A person instructs a shliach, an agent, zil, zavinli, kurdara, go, sell a kur, a substantial section of my property, kurdara. Also was zavinli lischa, and he went and he sold off only a lesser, which is half the amount. The purchaser is now in possession. It's a legal deal. Transaction is valid. As we see in the Mishnah, that going halfway is still considered a portion of that original transaction. The answer is no. Perhaps generally we don't say that. Half is half of the original. Half is nothing. But the answer is here. He got him a fancy suit. It was on sale. 50% off. And he's thinking, look, I know he wanted to spend $2 because he wanted a nicer, high-quality suit. Guess what? I got him a high-quality suit for half the money. That's what he was thinking. And that's what we consider a fulfillment of his wishes, an actualization of his shlichus. The answer is over here. You know what happened? He brought him back a $6 suit, b'shalish, which was priced at $3. It was a 50% deal. So since he got the same exact item that he wanted, MEILAH is on his shoulders. Says the Gemara, okay, if that's the case, so what's Rabbi arguing about? Rabbi Daimer, he's not responsible. Because he can tell the shliach, who asked you for a cheap suit? Well, guess not. It's not a cheap suit. It's the highest quality suit. Be happy, you got your 50% deal. He can tell the shliach, I was expecting a nice big garment. They basically cotton right brought me a poor quality garment. Why? Why is he saying that? The answer is like this. The Amalei, Balbayis tells the shliach, I understand you got me a good deal, a discount, 50% discount. But if only you would have spent the full amount as I asked you to do, you would have gotten me even a bigger discount. Because the more you spend, bulk, the bigger it is, the more discount. The better quality item you'd have brought me home. If only you would have spent the full dinar, isisly, you know what you'd have brought me back? Shava beis dinarim, something worth 2 dinar, double, and the Shita says maybe even more than that, right? And that's what you can claim. So you didn't do my bidding, you didn't do my job properly. We'll even prove that this is the correct understanding here. That Rabbi Yehuda is based on this premise. The more you spend, the bigger the bonus. The Ktani, because we have a brisa, which makes an exception. A case where even Rabbi Yehuda would agree that the Baal Bayis is fully responsible. There's no premise of added bonuses. That's in a case where things are sold with exactness, with precision. $1 a pound. It's not like an item which you can evaluate and estimate and bump up. Ktani might Rabbi Yehuda would agree with kitnis when he's sending him to buy kitnis beans. In the case where he came back with the same volume, discounted, they both did MEILAH. Why? Shakitnis bepruta, vakitnis bedinar. Because it's the same exact amount, proportionally, that you get, whether you spend a pruta or you spend a dinar. Basically, it's not, sold by estimation like a suit, like where you can round it up, you can, So here we're not expecting unexpected bonuses. In which case, even if you buy bulk, you'll still get the same discount, the same deal. Now, what exactly? How exactly is it being sold? If they're selling the beans, again by estimation. So there too, the assumption can be that the bigger the bulk, the bigger the discount. Let's assume that you paid the full selah, you would get a bigger discount, a bigger deal, proportionate to a lesser a purchase. We're talking about a place, the Masbni, they sell bekani kani. Kana has a certain value, a certain volume. They sell by volume. It's not like they sell you a sack and they'll throw you in an extra couple of pounds. They sell pound by pound. Kana, each volume costs you a pruta. The awesome pasuk Masayu, or there it's an exact, precise formula where you can't claim, well, you got me a discount, but if you would have spent more, you got a bigger discount, proportionate. No. You got the full discount, whether it's a smaller amount or a bigger amount, and there, in fact, the Baal Bayis is responsible because he got what he asked for, although it was only a partial, he only spent part of the money. The fact is he got the full amount at a discount. Okay, so conclusion, the Baal Bayis is only male when the shliach, carries out his shlichus, if in fact he fulfilled his wishes in a full pruta amount. But otherwise, it depends. If the shliach deviated on the full pruta, and he's responsible. If it's 50-50, nobody's responsible. We spoke about some cases where he only spent part of the money. It turns out that he got a discounted deal. The Tanna Kama says both committed MEILAH. Whereas Rabbi Yehuda says in cases where he can claim that he was shortchanged, and the Baal Bayis is off the hook. Next Mishnah. Mafkid Moyes, it's a shulchani. A fellow entrusted a shulchani, a money changer, a banker who deals with coins and money. He gave him some money to hold on, to watch for him. Can the shulchani use it? Im tzerurin, if they're tied up, closed up, sealed up, lay off. That's an indication that he doesn't want you to use it. And therefore, if it turns out that this money was really Hegdish money that he gave to the shulchani to watch, and the unlucky shulchani used this money, was unauthorized usage. He had no permission. If he spent it mol, he committed MEILAH. But in mutar, if the money is if the pouch is untied and accessible, that's an indication that the Baal Bayis is okay with him using it, because he's cognizant of the shulchani's need to access change and money on a regular basis. He knows that he's probably going to use it. So it's tantamount to implicit, permission. Yishtamish money can use it. Therefore, if it turns out to be Hegdish money, the shulchani is not responsible. Baal Bayis is responsible because he brought it about. He caused it. That's by Shulchan. He was known to access money. But it's a balabayis. He gave it to a regular balabayis to watch. Whether it's tied or untied, you shouldn't be using it. So that's why if he used it and turned out to be hegdish money, it's his responsibility. What about a grocer who, occasionally needs some change, but he's not as it's not as frequent as a shulchani. So what's the mindset when you give him money? Do you expect him to use it or not? Which means no permission. Yes, permission. He noticed a quarter falling into his money pouch, and he lost it in there. A hegdish money lost. Or he pledged a quarter in this packet is hegdish. As soon as he spends the first quarter, he committed MEILAH. Why? Akiva holds even Safek MEILAH is responsible. He has to bring a carbon. No, he's not responsible until he definitely committed MEILAH, which is at the very last coin. In the following case, that it's the very last coin, that's MEILAH. When he says, Pruta min kis ze hegdish, I want to prove it from this kiss to be hegdish, and the Gemara will explain. What he said was that this money pouch will not be depleted until, without leaving some, a coin for the hegdish, indicating that the last coin will be hegdish. So in this case, even Akiva agrees, you can spend until the very last coin, which is hegdish. You can spend all the money until he gets to the very last, until the very end. Now, why is that so? The Gemara will answer this, as we explained, but before we get to that, a couple of steps. Rav Dimi came, Omar, he says, Ramilei, Rish Lakish asked the question of Rabbi Yechanan. How do we explain this halacha? Why does Rabbi Akiva agree in this case that you can wait to the very last coin? Maishna Reisha. Why is it different than the Reisha, where as soon as he spent the first coin, Rabbi Akiva holds him responsible? Maishna Seifa versus the Seifa, where you have till the very end. Amar Li says Seifa. The Seifa is speaking by where you specified. Well, you pater, like patur, like to exempt. This kiss zeh will not be exempted from hegdish. Well, you pater kiss in a hegdish, implying that the very last one is okay. Kiyasa Rabin Amar. When Rabin came, he had a different version of this question. Kis nashvarin. Ramalei, Rabbi Yechanan, a contradiction from the case of the pouches in our Mishnah, versus the oxen. The Snab have a Mishnah. A person pledges, one of my oxen will be hegdish, without specifying. He had two. We assume the better quality one is the hegdish. We assume Rashi says, a person is generous when it comes to donations. But we have an implication. Now, suppose they were not different in quality. You had two equally qualified, animals. We assume it's the first one that comes to his hands, versus the last case in our Mishnah. Where's the last coin? Why? Amalisi says the same answer we gave. Seifa, the final halacha in the Mishnah, speaking, but where he says pater kiss him in the hegdish, implying that it's the last one. Here comes yet a third version of this discussion. Rapapa Amar Kisna Lugin Ramal. He asked him from the Kisin, now Mishnah, the case of the Lugin, the wine, the lug of wine, the lugs of wine. Ramali, that's what he asked him. The Snan or the San, you have a discussion regarding a fellow who's on the road, and he recalls that he has wine sitting at home, which he wants to use tomorrow for Shabbos. He can't take off Truma on Shabbos. He initiates the separation process today, pending the separation after Shabbos. A person purchased wine from the Kusim. This was the point in history where they were not reliable in terms of Hafrashas Trumas and Maises, but they were not considered like Goyim. You were allowed to buy from them. So he has to look after the Truma, the Maiser. He can't do it practically now. So what does he do? He verbalizes it. He verbally commits himself to take care of it in the future. That's okay. It's called Yesh Berera. Later, when he actually identifies the Truma, which he verbally committed to now, retroactively, it was confirmed that in fact this is the wine I had in mind. So you can start the process now and complete it later. Omer, he'll declare Shnei Lugin, 2 lugs of wine, which eventually, after Shabbos, I will put aside. Hari and Truma, I'm labeling them as Truma. And he can drink the wine until the very end, and the last little bit are put aside. Asara, 10 lug is Maaser Rishon, Tisha, 9 is Maaser Sheni, Mechel V'Sheis Miyad, and he does the conversion on the Maaser Sheni, which you can do no problem, onto money. V'Sheis Miyad, and he sits down and has a drink. Tivir Amir, based on the idea of Yesh Breira. So even though he hasn't identified the Truma yet, he hasn't separated the Maaser, he can do it later, retroactively. Which is similar to the halacha in the Mishnah here, where you can wait to the last coin. So even though that hekdesh is mixed in with the rest, floating around somewhere in this, don't worry, wait to the last coin, and that will be designated as hekdesh. Same thing here. You have truma and masa floating around in this barrel, no problem. You can leave it for last. That's Rabbi Shita, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yisrael, Rabbi Shimon. No, they don't hold of the Breiro concept, Eisrin, they don't allow this process. So bottom line, Rameir seems to contradict the 3 Tanaim who don't allow it seem to contradict the halacha now Mishnah, where we can wait until the last coin. So once again, he answered, our Mishnah is different, where everybody would agree. You can leave it for last. Amalei Sefer Masnissen. Baima was speaking that he said, "Lo Potter Kisem and a Hegdish," indicating that in fact it's the very last coin, which will be Hegdish. Okay, Hadron Allah Hashaliach Shasa Shlichusoi Uslika La Mesechas MEILAH. Thank you so much for learning together this wonderful Masechta. May we be zeichet to march ahead all the way to the finish line, to finish Shas Be'ez Hashem B'Karev, Gesundheit, Heit, Besimcha, as much Hatzlacha Siyata D'Shmaya. And the lesson from our Masechta perhaps can be connected to a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Mishnah says, Ein lecha Adam, there's no man, she'ein lo isha, without a specific time. Every man has his time, his opportunity. Ve'ein lecha davar she'ein lo makom, nor is there an object without its place. There's a time and place for everything, and for everyone. Mesechus MEILAH speaks about deviation, diversion. And the lesson perhaps is that no, everything, Hashem designated for everything a specific time and place, specific purpose, destiny. Each one of us, with his own talents, with his own mission. And the point is that we should be zeicha, we should appreciate the value of our individuality, of our talents, of our abilities, of our kishroinus, of our God-given talents, and utilize them properly. Actualize our potential and the potential of our surroundings, our environment. Use everything for its intended purpose, its intended function and mission, to bring about the Shekhinah down here in this world, and ultimately to bring about the redemption. Amen. So maybe be zeicha to recognize that, to appreciate the importance of every item, every experience. The value of ourselves. To believe in ourselves and our abilities. Lulei Hamanti, the Baal Term writes, Lulei Hamanti, which we say towards the end of David Hashem Oiri. He says, Lulei is Rashi Tevis, El. David HaMelech is saying, look, if not for the fact that I kept on believing, despite my scoffers and detractors, and enemies. Enemies could be physical enemies, could be spiritual enemies, could be negative moods within the person. Try to pull them down and despair, stop believing in your ability to succeed. No, Lulei Hamad, if I would have stopped believing, I would have given up a long time ago. No, I kept on believing. And that's why I ignored my scoffers. I ignored my naysayers. Lulei Hamanti. It's only because I kept on believing. Lirois B'tuv Hashem. Lirois B'tuv Hashem V'eretz Chaim. That I have the ability to reach the greatest heights. Elul is a time for believing in oneself, believing in one's abilities, to strive higher, to reach the greatest heights, to succeed in our mission, each individual, each person, and of course what Hashem had in mind for us. Maybe we zeichet a good given shtiar to bring about the Gula Shlema all together, all of us. Amen.
I know you know sis besoy sato yiro ki lo nu was the yiro oh is the yiro no you know sis besoy sato yiro ki lo nu was the yiro I know you know sis besoy sato yiro ki lo nu was the yiro oh is the yiro no you know sis besoy sato yiro ki lo nu was the yiro No, you know what is the so it's hard to you know what you know what is the